My dance name is Badriya, which means shining like the moon or moon-like. I chose it partly because it's a pretty name. I wanted something that would evoke a little bit of the goth side of my dancing, so something that's related to the night. It was a good choice for me. And finally, I'm really pale, so I do actually shine like the moon, so it seemed appropriate on that level too. Well, I took my first belly dance class on a whim, basically. A friend of mine said, hey, let's take belly dance classes, and I was like, belly dance, okay, sure, why not? And we got there, and I loved it, and so it was actually doing it was what inspired me to want to do more. First teacher was Lonnie Butera, who teaches at the Boston Center for Adult Education and also at MIT. And she's German, so it was interesting that my first belly dance classes were very much a German style of belly dance, not American at all. But from there I started taking classes with Saida and later Amira Jamal and Najmat. I perform two different styles of dance. On the one hand, I do a very traditional Arabic Egyptian type of dance to classical music and shabby pop and mizmars and all that great stuff. And on the other hand, I also do gothic belly dancing, which is more experimental and has more room for drama. I was a goth kid growing up, and so for me, that's an exploration of part of my identity, merging two things that I love together. I think of the great dancers who inspire me. I might think how would Fifi Abdo handle this piece of music, or oh, I can do a little Dina thing here. But I'm also thinking about the mood of the music and the sort of message behind it. If it's a song with lyrics, what are the lyrics saying, and how can I convey that with my body? How can I express the music with my body? I love dancing to live music. In the Boston area, it's hard for a dancer at my level to find a live Arabic-style band to dance with, so I don't get to do it very often, but there is an incredible lift of energy dancing with live music. I've danced with rock bands, not just Arabic-type bands, but same thing with a rock band. There's a difference having live musicians on stage with you. On the classic side of my belly dancing, I like things like the Sami Nosser Orchestra and Mokhtar El-Sayed, the Jalila CDs, the real classic stuff, and shabby pop like Hakim and Saad and Rico. On the gothic side, I like artists like Cantal, Black Tape for a Blue Girl, a whole bunch of bands. I've heard generally pretty positive things from people. I mean, most people aren't going to say something negative right to your face, but most people are like, oh, that's interesting. In Boston, you often hear oh, my mom, my aunt, my sister took classes, I took classes, because it was so popular here in the 70s. So generally people are pretty enlightened. But yeah, you definitely sometimes get the ooh, belly dancer, isn't your husband a lucky man? I never thought of myself as very graceful or, just physically apt. And belly dance has taught me that no, I can be graceful, and I can do a back bend and I can wave my arm and it'll be beautiful. And I'm also a lot more comfortable with my weight as a result of belly dance. I don't mind carrying a little extra. I think I'm a pretty active community participant. I go to a lot of events. I dance in people's halfleys and benefit shows. I've also put on some shows, gothic belly dance shows and benefits. I put on a benefit for Hurricane Katrina relief. So I think, I'm out there in the community. I think that I think women will always want something like belly dance. They will seek it out because you really do learn a lot about yourself and a lot about living in your own body, through belly dance.